I don't know if you're comfortable talking about Heath, but I feel obligated to say that I knew him a little bit when he was getting sober. And I don't know that I've ever fallen in love with someone so quickly. He was just so special.
So special. Yeah, an incredible sensitivity.
Heath Ledger's tragic death in January 2008 shocked the world. But for his ex-girlfriend, Michelle Williams, it was a deeply personal wound that has lingered ever since. Though she rarely speaks publicly about their time together, in a recent interview, Williams opened up, offering a rare window into the love they shared. We also heard from Heather Graham, another ex-girlfriend, who spoke about her amazing romance with Heath Ledger. Before his Oscar-winning turn as the Joker, Heath Ledger shared a whirlwind romance with actress Heather Graham between 2000 and 2001. The two met while filming in Prague and quickly became inseparable. Speaking on Kristen Davis's Are You a Charlotte podcast, Graham described their connection as amazing, saying she felt very in love and proud to have dated him. She recalled Ledger's warmth and humor, remembering them laughing over Sex and the City episodes together, a glimpse into a carefree chapter of his life before fame's pressures deepened.
Yes, I dated him. In fact, I think we might have watched the show together, and I think he actually really liked it. I remember us watching it and him being like, I can relate to this.
A bright light gone too soon. Graham's voice softened as she reflected on Ledger's legacy, describing him as a magical person who brought so much joy to her life. Now 55, she admitted she still keeps photos from their time together, hesitant to share them publicly without his family's blessing. Her words echoed the sentiments of many who knew Ledger, admiration mixed with heartbreak. I wish he was still alive, she said simply. Some of these really bright lights don't get to live so long. So special, Michelle Williams speaks out after years of silence. Michelle Williams has long maintained a quiet reserve about her time with Heath Ledger, cautious not to let private history become public spectacle. Yet in a recent episode of Armchair Expert, she allowed her voice to break through, revealing some of the emotional textures she's carried since his death. Dax Shepard, the podcast's co-host, prefaced the conversation by admitting he knew Ledger somewhat, especially in his early efforts toward sobriety. He called Heath, quote, one of the most special boys I've ever met, and spoke of sensing the weight of the world on him in a very special way. Williams' response was quiet, almost tender. So special, she repeated. Then she added, thank God there's Matilda, referencing her daughter with Ledger. As Shepard described Ledger, quote, this heart here that's just leaking out everywhere, Williams acknowledged with conviction, yeah, an incredible sensitivity. Their relationship began on the set of Brokeback Mountain, where they co-starred as a married couple navigating betrayal, identity, and longing. Their real-life bond blossomed in parallel. They welcomed daughter Matilda in October 2005 during the film's promotional period. When Shepard asked how Williams managed the upheaval of fame, especially as Ledger rose quickly to awards season attention, she admitted there was no natural transition.
We had a baby, but I suppose maybe it's a good thing about being young is that you don't have so much life experience that you can contextualize things, so you're really just going with the flow.
She and Ledger parted ways about a year before his death. Williams went on to raise Matilda largely on her own during that period. In her later life, she's had 3 more children with her husband, Thomas Cale, Hart, born in 2020, a second child in 2022, and another in spring of 2025. In the podcast, Williams also opened up about the balance she tries to strike between motherhood and career. She acknowledged there's no perfect having it all. Instead, she must constantly renegotiate her priorities. Quote, allow for give and take, and ensure that she doesn't let any part of her life lie unattended for too long. Grief, acceptance, and the ghost of what might have been. Michelle Williams' reflections reveal a corridor of loss she continues to walk, one inhabited by the echoes of what was and what might have been. In more than one interview, she's spoken of the concept of radical acceptance, a state of making peace with realities she cannot change. In a 2018 Vanity Fair piece, she said that Ledger's spirit lives on in their daughter, and that accepting the void his absence created is part of living. She's also spoken of deep sorrow. When news of Ledger's death broke, she was filming in Sweden on Mammoth. She described the aftermath as brutal. Quote, it was horrible. I don't remember most of it. Yet Williams has also expressed an almost reverent gratitude for Matilda, who serves as an enduring thread connecting Ledger's past to the present. In interviews, she shared how she tells Matilda, quote, your dad loved me before anybody thought I was talented or pretty or had nice clothes. That statement, she said, is one she repeats so her daughter can know the unconditional love that existed. Williams' path forward has been stitched with strength, humility, and vulnerability. In Armchair Expert, she confessed, quote, "When I make mistakes in front of my daughter and I own up to them, it teaches her to make mistakes and say, 'Oopsie, mommy, I'm sorry,' and it's not a big deal." Over time, she's become more confident in her role as a mother, less afraid of imperfection. Yet, the grief, she suggests, is not something one clothed in finality. It remains part of a continuum. In a 2016 Porter interview, she said that if there's one thing she cannot accept, it's that her daughter will never fully know her father. Quote, "In pretty much all senses but one, I would be able to go totally down that line of thinking were it not for Matilda not having her dad," she told the magazine. The world's reaction. When Heath Ledger died on January 22, 2008, the shock reverberated far beyond Hollywood. At just 28 years old, the Australian actor had already established himself as one of the industry's most gifted talents. His performances in Brokeback Mountain and The Dark Knight, leaving behind a legacy that would define a generation of film. His death from an accidental overdose of prescription medications sparked an outpouring of grief across the world. Fans gathered outside his New York apartment, leaving flowers, letters, and photographs. In Perth, thousands attended a beachside memorial, scattering flowers into the ocean as the sun set over the Indian Sea, a final tribute to their hometown hero. For those who knew him personally, the grief carried a deeper, quieter weight. Michelle Williams released a single, devastating statement days after his death. Quote, "Please respect our need to grieve privately. My heart is broken. I am the mother of the most tender-hearted, high-spirited little girl who reminds me of him every day." In the years that followed, Williams was forced to navigate an impossible intersection, the scrutiny of public mourning and the sanctity of private loss. The world wanted stories, memories, closure. But Williams, who had built her career on restraint and emotional precision, refused to commodify her grief. Her silence became its own statement of love, a way to protect both herself and Matilda from the spectacle that celebrity often invites. Heather Graham also echoed that sentiment in her recent Hello interview. She admitted that even after 2 decades, she still feels protective over the parts of Heath that were just theirs. Quote, "I have some pictures from our time together, but I've never shared them," she said. "It feels like something sacred." Their words, separated by time but united by tenderness, show that even brief relationships can leave indelible marks. For both women, Ledger represented more than a chapter of romance. He embodied a moment in life defined by laughter, youth, and creativity. The legacy of Heath. 17 years after his death, Heath Ledger's presence still lingers, not only in cinema, but in the hearts of those who loved him. His colleagues continue to speak of his fearless artistry, his curiosity, and the kindness he brought to every set. Christopher Nolan once said that Ledger's portrayal of the Joker, quote, "was beyond anything anyone expected. It wasn't just performance, it was possession." Even now, The Dark Knight remains a towering testament to the depth of his craft, earning him a posthumous Oscar for Best Supporting Actor in 2009. But to Michelle Williams, his legacy is not just cinematic, it's living, breathing, embodied in their daughter, Matilda. Now 19, she has reportedly inherited her father's expressive eyes, his humor, and creative spark. In recent interviews, Williams has shared that Matilda has started to ask more questions about Heath, questions that she answers not with sadness, but with stories. Quote, "I tell her about the way he made everyone feel," she said, "how alive he was, how funny, how brave." Williams also finds solace in knowing that parts of Ledger live on in the art he left behind. She's spoken of rewatching Brokeback Mountain occasionally, not as a fan or co-star, but as a woman remembering the man who once held her hand between takes. "It's hard," she said, "but it's also beautiful. It's like visiting him for a moment." Now it's time to hear from you. What's your favorite memory of Heath Ledger? Let us know in the comments section below.